Hello, Miss Ashley. Hi, Amanda.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to set this up on a ring light in just a second.
I'm so happy you were able to make it tonight
Yeah.
because, as everybody knows, today we started pre-selling our Feather Brows course, and you are the queen of feather brows. Wait, did you put freckles?
I'm picking a random filter.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cute.
Oh.
It's a lot of freckles. Boy, it's a lot of freckles.
Yes. I love
Have this
freckles.
many freckles? I never noticed. And I'm like thinking, oh, it's a filter. Cool, cool, cool. So, Ashley, let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
So we get to know you, who you are. Now we're seeing your hand. Oh, you have nice hands.
And hello. Okay. I think, there we go. Is this?
Perfect.
I don't fly very much, so this is like, so here we are.
Looking who is here. Wow, you look very nice.
It's the filter.
It's very nice.
Turn the brightness down just a little bit.
Good, good, good. All right. So tell us, who is Ashley?
Who is Ashley? So I am from Vancouver, Washington. I actually live, well, no, I'm not from there. I work there, but I live across the bridge over in Portland. I've been doing cosmetic tattooing for just about 4 years. My anniversary is coming right up. And I like to say I'm a traditional artist before doing tattooing. So I've always been kind of painting and drawing, and doing realism is kind of my thing. So I've been looking, I always was looking for something to kind of utilize that ability, and I found it in this, especially with machine methods, because there's so much creative freedom.
True, true. So tell me, before you were doing permanent makeup, what were you doing?
What was I doing? Well, before,
the beauty industry?
Before. And I was not in the beauty industry or anything. I actually had random jobs. I always knew I wanted to have a business, and I always knew I wanted to use my artistic ability, but I was kind of all over the place, didn't have direction for a while. And I actually, believe it or not, a car wreck got me into the industry in the sense that I ended up getting in a super bad car accident, not my fault. And I used insurance money to start my business and get trained. So I turned something bad and used it to jump into a new industry. I kind of procrastinated for 2 years. I wanted to get into this.
So how did you start? Did you start with the machine work, or like did you start with, like everybody else, with microblading?
That's what I did. Just like everyone else. It seems like that's kind of how everyone starts out. Except for now, people have there's more opportunity to start out with something like feather brows, which is awesome. So now the trainings are there, and we can.
So you started with microblading.
Yes.
And how long did it take you to say, you know what, I love this style? Because your style is mostly like fluffy, feathery, like fluffy eyebrows. Because when you started the microblading, like the pattern is not really a fluffy pattern. So you were doing the traditional microblading patterns, or what?
I was doing fluffy. I was trying.
Oh, you were doing fluffy.
I kind of got, since day one. Okay, so since I got trained in microblading, I actually wanted to do machine hair stroke technique, specifically this look, since the very beginning, but there was no one around. I'm the only person in my area that specializes in this technique, or even nano in general, like any machine hair stroke technique. So it's like I cornered the market over here, I guess. So I actually wanted to do it since the beginning, didn't have anyone to train me. So I was like, well, I got to get into the industry. So that's where I started. And I was trying to replicate a fluffy look as best as I could with microblading. And, I like microblading too. It's just, it wasn't I wanted to get into the industry for something specific. So I just finally had to go do it. And here we are.
I think it's definitely a look, you know. I mean, I do see though, you do the softer feather, what do you call it? A baby, no, not baby, baby feather, right?
So like the smaller brows on my page, like almost if I'm doing a hair stroke brow, it's all that pattern, all of it. It's just a matter of scaling it down, which is why it's so great, because the versatility is there. So you can really give a client that's afraid of the fluff, you know, give them something, and because the pattern lends itself to like realism. So it's nice that you can do it in a small scale and then a big scale with the fluff. Of course, I love doing the fluffy stuff, but it's not for everyone. And it's nice to be able to use that same technique for everyone.
I wanted to talk about a little bit, like, what is feather brows, you know, and can it be scaled down? Like, why don't you tell us, like, what is the difference? Because now a lot of people are wondering, what is Nano, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a Nano strokes course.
Yeah.
So I could say the biggest difference is the type of strokes that it's made, right?
Yeah. So it's the pattern and the hair strokes. So the primarily that I use, you can do it with the crisp hair strokes, which are like the Nano course is more of the traditional pattern, more sleek, and you've got
it
crisp.
Is sleek. They don't do any of the like you know fluffy feather, no fluffy strokes,
like pixelated hair strokes. So the fluffy
strokes, that's it. Yeah.
And so what's so which is really fun to use is because you can make, like my client that just left, she had coarse brow hair and she wanted fluff. But if I was to do crisp hair strokes, it gets lost, you know, because it's under all this dense, like fluffy hair. But she wants to be able to see the fluff. So that's where pixelated strokes are really great, because you can use different needle groupings, a 1 RL, a 3 RL, you can use a 3-round shader, and gives you those thicker hair strokes. And you can even do that all with a single needle.
Right.
You can do it even. And it's more like drawing, you know, you just make the hair strokes wider. And I go into all that in the course and like how to achieve that and everything.
Oh, yeah. I have everything in that course. I'm the only one missing. If you see Claire's picture, Claire is in there too.
So,
hey, you know, we have a question. When is Feather Brows coming for Beauty Angels? Well, guess what? You can buy it right now, you guys. We have it, and we have a 14% Valentine's Day special. If you want to go we have a pre-sale. Okay. So you could buy it now, and our course is ready.
It is time. A long time coming.
I know. Well, it only took a really, really long time because number one, you had a baby. Number two, this course, in my opinion, it is so super detailed. And Ashley, you wanted to put everything in there, which we have bonus levels. And if you buy it now, you guys, you get all those bonus levels. And what is in those bonus levels? Tell us.
I go into detail, like really detailed about like needles and how to use them and machines, just like different, like kind of understanding the inner workings.
Like knowledge of tattooing, basically, right?
And what's nice is that it helps you to understand how to better work with more skin types, because you know the stroke on this, I can't even talk, the stroke on your machine, if it's short versus long, you know, different types of needles, taper, all that stuff, it's all in there, and it will help you to better work on different skin types. And if you run into, you know, a difficult skin that you weren't expecting, you'll know how to handle that.
What I want you to do is also explain what is the different taper mean. Like a lot of people, I don't think know what is a different taper, because now, as you guys know, and Ashley of course know, because Ashley was the one who actually picked this machine and, you know, made us, you know, design. She even made the designs and draw it, you know. You have a lot of hard work in this machine and our power supply. So what I want to talk about is how important it was to you that the device has different stroke length.
Yeah. Yeah, so the stroke length, it comes with an option. You can really easily switch it out into a 2.2 or a 3.2 millimeter stroke. And having those different stroke lengths, it dictates the hit of your machine. So if it hits the skin harder or softer, it's essentially the distance. When the cam rotates, it's the armature bar pushes, and it's how the distance the needle travels, essentially, from point 1 to point 2 in each rotation. So if you have a longer stroke,
as like this will be different, like people would change the cam accordingly to the skin type, and they're heavy-handed, light-handed. Tell us a little bit more.
So really naturally light-handed, so I use the longer stroke. So if I use a short stroke, like before I used the Bel R, and I prefer this machine because I have the option of that longer stroke, so it allows me to better work. And so now I can use this machine instead, because I'm so light-handed. At first, when I was first starting out and being light-handed and not knowing as much, my retention wasn't as good. But when I switched to a longer stroke, my retention got a lot better. And so it's good to have those options. Whereas if you're heavy-handed, you might like the shorter stroke better. Or if you have really thick skin, switching to the longer stroke is going to be better for that too. And mature skin, shorter stroke. So, and all that's.
And it's super easy to change this. We actually have a video that it's not done yet, but we're doing it, and we're going to put it on our website. So when they do buy the machine, or they could buy the machine with the course as well, and you get like actually a much better deal like that. And right now, this device is only being sold with your course. I don't know if you knew this, but it's only with the feather brows, because we want it to be special for you, since you are the one who, yes. So probably in a few months, we're going to start selling with all the other courses too, but I wanted it to be special for you. You know, we wanted to launch it, you know, about the same time. So just because you had like so much, you know, hard work putting this machine together, right? So
that was a lot of
very for us. Yeah. You didn't even know that, but I'm telling you right now.
I did not know.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. So tell us, how many patterns do they learn in this feather brows course? Like, what are the different patterns and styles that they will learn?
Okay, so there's 3 primary patterns, which you have your downward pattern, which is a lot of Hispanics or Asian, the spine that kind of goes downward, the one that we're all familiar with. A mid pattern, which is very European, spines in the middle, and then we have a fluffy pattern where it's very high, and it's the fluffier look, and that is good for people who usually, if their hair is flowing in kind of more like a mid direction, they can go in that way. You just have to kind of communicate with your client, like, hey, if you want this fluffier look, and just kind of let them know.
Right. Maybe it's a good way, like they could even show their latex practice.
Yeah, it's fun, I think, to do.
What?
The fluffy one is my favorite pattern for sure. It's my favorite one to do. And then there's kind of a bonus pattern, which is an upward flow, and it's where all the hair strokes go up and there is no spine at all. It's just all going up, and that's super popular right now. So I wanted to include that as kind of a little bonus, because it's that laminated look, and a lot of clients are just like laminating their brows, and they're religiously doing it, and so they're perfect candidates for that. Or people who just religiously use brow gel, and they love that upward look. It's a really nice pattern too. But
yeah, I mean, if they are laminating, or our brow gel is the bomb. If you like that look, you do like that look. I know. Yeah, you would love it. I mean, it just stays. It's not crunchy though.
yeah,
it's like super, super good consistency. You should try it. It just launched with our brow lamination products. It's a part of the brow lamination products. So we're very excited about that. Do you do any other services?
I do like lip blush, powder brows, and then my other kind of specialty that I'm one besides like feather brows is areola. So that's
Ah,
like my passionate type of thing. Cause I, you know, back to kind of how I inherited the trait of being able to draw well, I guess, from my dad and his dad. And so the
yeah, you're an artist for sure.
yeah, so it's that realism, that areola, and it's so fulfilling. And it's just, I haven't been able to do it near as much as brows, but that's my.
I'm not an artist. I'm
Yeah.
not an artist, but I always said that you don't have to be an artist to
Mm-hmm.
learn microblading. And
No.
I truly still stick with that.
Yeah.
But do you think to do feather brows, do you think you have to be artistic, or is it something that people can learn?
Yeah, you can learn it. You can definitely learn it. And the thing is it always helps to be artistic. It definitely helps.
Of course, you will learn faster.
Yeah, exactly. So you might have a different learning curve, but absolutely, if it's taught, like if it's taught properly, you can totally learn it. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely.
Because obviously I don't do machine strokes.
Mm-hmm.
The one time I tried machine strokes, it was absolutely disaster, like really long time ago. And
First time I tried it on latex too. You know, it's, I think everyone.
on the latex, it was easier.
Yeah.
But I tried it on my client. It was like, oh my God, I obviously went very deep, and it was so thick, like black. And it was a little bit like an older lady. And I was like, oh my God, this is not good. What did I do? And I'm like, hey, maybe I should just stick with the microblading and not like do this, because I was doing good on the latex, and I got like scared because I never at the time, honestly, nobody was really teaching it either, you know. So it was it was years ago. It was like literally right after I started doing microblading, which is what, 6 years ago. What I mean, I'm doing microblading longer, but when I tried the machine strokes, it was about 6 years ago, which is a really long time. And the industry came, you know, a long way since, you know. And I don't know though. I think I like both. I do like nano strokes also, because I feel like now there is a lot of people, they do like the traditional microblading pattern, you know, more sculpted, more clean, like more structured. Is that what it's? Yeah. So for that, it's good. I mean, like if people are wondering what's the difference between the nano strokes course and the feather brows course. And in the nano brows course, you literally learn how to do one way, you know, just like regular strokes, like clean strokes, not fluffy strokes. And then you learn a microblading pattern. Now that course also teaches how to do machine shading, and it also teaches the fusion brows, which the tail, and you know, after 0.5, the tail is completely powder. It doesn't have any strokes. So feather brows is completely different. I mean, you learn it's a lot more depth, like it's really in depth with how to do different styles of strokes, right? So different that's a very big difference. But they don't teach you that traditional basic microblading pattern.
Not the different patterns for sure. It's more of that, you know, I think a lot of people are getting familiar with it and like seeing that flowy look, and it's a totally different structure of pattern, and it's one that can only be accomplished with the machine, really, because the hair cross and they do all these different things, and so you've got to be able to.
Right. That's the difference between, like when I say what's the difference between microblading and machine strokes also, like there's a big difference. Like one of them you just said, that you can cross strokes with microblading because it's cutting, and that's four-way cut, like one, 2, 3, 4. So it's like a four-way cut. So then the skin opens up like a flower, which is a very big trauma to the skin. So when you are creating it with a machine, there is no, you know, of course there's still trauma, but it's not cutting. So it's very different ways, because the machine is going, like the needle is going in and out. It's not like cutting this, right? So I think that's like probably the biggest difference. What else would you say the biggest difference is between microblading and machine strokes?
Besides that, it kind of plays off of that in the sense that because of that, and because it's not cutting the skin, it's actually good for a lot more skin types. So it works for everyone, you know. So you can do it on mature skin successfully. You can do it on oily. I've done it on super thick, oily skin and had success. Of course, you won't get the exact same.
No, never gonna be the same.
Still can look great. It can still look great, and it can still work. And there's no bleeding during the procedure. You might get a speck or two, very minimal on that. It's just a lot of creative freedom, you know, because you can cross strokes. I feel like it all goes back to just kind of the lack of a technical restriction, the lack of technical restrictions in that regard. Because it just opens up the doorway to really getting creative. And what's cool is once you learn the basics, you really can kind of put your own spin on the patterns and kind of create your own.
You could just create endless different patterns, and especially the way that you built your course, they learned so many different styles that they could get really, really creative with, you know, different styles, I feel like. Totally. I mean, you built a really pretty incredible course. It's really, really very, very detailed. I'm very, very impressed. And I think they're going to be super happy. I was telling, I don't think there's anything like it in the whole industry, to be honest with you, you know?
Yeah.
It's so much fun. It is. It is a lot of, but I have to say this, between the difference between the microblading and the nano, or, you know, feather brows is a nano. The difference to me is, in my opinion, it is a little bit easier to learn microblading if you never did it.
Yeah.
So I always say, I still think it's a good idea as a first course, honestly, as an introduction to permanent makeup. I still prefer to do either powder brows or microblading. And once you have more, you know, knowledge, I think it's easier to learn the machine hair strokes.
Because when you have the knowledge of like color theory and all that, you can focus all on the, you know, so that's a good point in the sense that you can focus just on the technique instead of all the other things that come with cosmetic tattooing. You can just focus on how to learn this technique.
Or color theory, at least you know, you just have to focus how to make the stroke with the machine, you know, because I think that's what the biggest difference is. Because even when we were talking about, which is this, you know, it's very similar, the nano strokes, when we were talking to prospect students, they're like, I don't know, I always feel that a permanent makeup artist has to know a stroke pattern, I mean a way to make strokes on the eyebrow, and shading, right, outer brows. I think these are two very, very important. So if you are artistic and you are patient, you could definitely get the nano strokes or the feather brows course as a beginner, because you give everything in that course. I mean, you could be a beginner. You don't have to be, you know, an experienced person, but it's also great for experienced. Because I feel like the information that you share, honestly, in that course, I mean, it was stuff that I never even heard about. I mean, granted, I don't do, you know, stroke pattern technique, but even like some little things, like it was really, really nice to have that course, you know. I learned a lot of things, I have to say. And I feel like, of course, from every artist or every master, you learn something different, which is, of course, very good. But beaches and brows, Nice name. I like my kind of name. Bitches. Hello, bitches. I had a student, and I believe she still uses it, but her name was the Brow Bitch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. She's in Washington. She's in the Seattle area.
Oh, okay. That's only 3 hours. You know what's nice? The feather brows also, you know, a nice thing is that if someone wants a soft look, you can do that. Even a fluffy soft look, or you can go fluffy bold and add shading. Because in the videos, I do the shading too, like to show how to kind of amp it up. So
I think it's super important to learn shading with anything. Like if you're microblading, you gotta learn shading with it. That's why our microblading course includes the shading. Because I feel like you cannot create you know, perfect eyebrows for everybody. I mean, for some people I just do microblading. Yes, that's fine, you know. And I'm sure maybe, do you do shading on everyone?
No, I don't.
Okay, so it's the same.
Yep, I do sometimes, like I do straight powder brows, or I'll do a mix of the two, or I'll do feather brows with no shading at all. Or if someone wants fluff and a bold look without shading, you can just do thicker hair strokes, which is really nice about using pixelated. Thicker, which makes them stand out more, which is what I do with my client.
Right.
And so that's
it's great because in this course they learn how to create different looks for different people, because everybody needs something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I may have a lot of hair, but I like really full brows, and you can't just give that full brow look with just hair strokes, even if you did thicker hair strokes.
Yeah, you need shading in there sometimes. Yep.
I always need shading. I always like shading.
Especially if a client's used to wearing makeup. Everyone needs to, every cosmetic tattooist has to know how to do shading. It's imperative. And you know what's interesting about shading is that the hand movement, there's a couple different hand movements that you can do to achieve like the different hair strokes, but one of them, shade, is the exact same way to hold the machine and do it for shading, for like powder brows for shading, and the hair strokes. And it's just a matter of so it's like the same exact thing, it's just kind of manipulating how you're doing it. So
Got it.
I
honestly didn't pay attention exactly how to make the strokes because I don't have time to learn feather brows technique right now.
You have a lot going on.
I have a lot going on. That's right. Yes, shading is usually a must. Yeah, I mean, to me, yes, I love shading, but
at least to know how.
People that have hair and they're super like plain Jane, you know, like they never wear makeup, and I mean, I could see that why they would want just the hair strokes, you know what I mean? But if they're missing like a big chunk of like half the eyebrow.
Yeah, you need shading. Yeah, like today my client, so what I did was I actually did kind of like a fusion brow, but with feather brow type hair strokes. So I did half of it like a feather brow and the other half, because she had patches of hair missing. And so I did thick hair strokes and shading too. So she has a fusion feather brow thing going on.
Right, and you could do that too. You don't have to just do, you know, regular microblading pattern with the fusion. But that's what the good thing about it is. Like if you take one course and the other course, you could like
make your own. You just kind of mix the different skills and just like invent something.
Right, exactly. And, like for example, if you know how to do powder brows, I mean, you could do, you know, you could just, it's pretty easy. You know what I mean?
Powder brows, you can segue right into learning feather brows. Totally.
Right. So honestly, we're calling all the powder brow girls to learn feather brows.
Definitely. You know what's interesting is that I feel like the industry now is like microblading is huge and it's not going anywhere. But now people are starting to be like, oh, machine hair strokes. It's it's catching hold. And like in my area, I'm the only one who specializes in it. And there's a few people, like someone came from out of town and did a training. So there's a few people who messaged me, were asking for advice and stuff. But literally the best thing I ever did for my career was discontinue microblading and start doing machine hair strokes.
Well, because it sets you apart.
Exactly. My thing. That was my thing. And
but you know what? Listen, F Faulkney say microblading here. I'm with you. I'm a microblader. So microblading is gonna always live. It's not going to trust me.
Anywhere. But it's depending on kind of what you want to do, it can be a really good thing for your business to learn a technique like that, and maybe you decide to specialize in it, and that can be your thing.
Actually, what is from Australia? Hello, Australia. I think you should take this course and be one of the founders of feather brows technique in Australia. I think you should definitely do that. Hello, Brazil. So we have Brazil in the house. We have Australia in the house. If any other countries, just say hello, so we'll, give you a shout out.
I'm like trying to look through here. You do live so much more than me. I'm like a total dweeb when it comes to how to do this stuff.
Yeah, you get used to it. It's fine. So tell me, how did you find Beauty Angels?
How did I find Beauty Angels? Actually, I knew of who you guys were before we talked. When we actually just kind of met online.
Did you take the microblading with Fibrows?
No. I just I honestly don't even know. Like, I just started following you, and I remember hearing about Beauty Angels when you started the academy. I was new, and so I was like, follow, who do I follow? Who do I need to pay attention to? And because I was microblading then, and so that's how I first heard of you.
Okay. Yeah. And then I found you on Facebook.
What was that?
I found you on Facebook.
I know. And
I found you on Facebook and I asked you out.
Yes. On a date.
On a date, and then we got married. And then we had a baby.
It was a fluffy baby.
No, and then you got a real baby too.
I know. She's 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Time flies, huh? What's your name?
Hadassah.
Hadassah.
It's a Hebrew name.
It is.
Yeah. I have a lot of, my kids all have different names. Like my 2-year-old is Aliska. And then
they're very different. What is that? Aliska sounds like Polish or something.
It's a Finnish name. I'm Finn. Like I'm mostly Finnish and a little bit Swedish. So I'm Finn Swede, and then my husband's Russian Ukrainian. But he's like from the Middle East too. So it's all sorts of different stuff going on.
There's the Hadassah Hospital in Israel.
Oh yeah. That is actually
a place. Isn't it a place? I think it's like a place. Like it's a city, I think.
The reason why they would have the hospital there is probably because Esther from the Bible, her Hebrew name before she changed it was Hadassah. That's why. That's why they have probably a hospital name then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
We're learning things.
I didn't. But I knew that hospital because it's a very, very big hospital. They do a lot of research and stuff like that. Yeah. Let me see. Hold on. So let me see if I had other questions for you. So, okay, I'm curious. What made you join Beauty Angels? Why did you say, you know what? Let me go with Beauty Angels.
Why did I decide to go there? Because I feel like now we have a different kind of that mentorship method. It's not like take the course, you're on your own, bye.
Correct.
I think that's really important. I'm like, I kind of was on my own in a lot of aspects and figuring things out when I first started, and luckily I'm like a researcher and I'll figure things out, but some people need the help and the mentorship, and like everyone could use that help, and I think that really sets Beauty Angels apart. I think it's important.
What sets us apart, honestly, the support that we give to our students, and we take their hand and we walk them. You know, I'm always gonna be there for you unless you drop off the train.
Yeah, like you did.
Because then I'm not even gonna know that she dropped off. But if she keeps, trying to learn, I'm gonna be there.
Yep.
Hi, Canada. We have Montreal, Albania. Oh, Washington State. Brows and Beauty Care is from Washington State, just like you. Mexico.
Where in Washington?
I think you should definitely get on the boat. You could go right now on our website and put Valentine 14 and get that 14% off of your course. I've searched microblading on Instagram and your work is a like godsend. Aw, how sweet. Glitter me. Samantha is there. Hi. Bitches and brows. What are you laughing at? You guys seem like such beautiful women. Aw, how sweet. Like beautiful inside and out, right? Like how pretty we are. Look.
That's just right. I look tall, so I don't know. It's personal.
I fluffed my hair for you guys. Look. She put freckles on.
Oh, I've got my freckles on. That's another. When you ask me what else I do, I specialize in freckles too.
Do you really? You do freckles?
Yes, people come to me for freckles for sure.
Oh, that's cool. I found you looking up a numbing cream for my.
There you go.
Magnum. She found the Magnum. Yeah, Magnum is great. It's great. And you also like that, right? It has a little bit of epinephrine.
But not too much, which is good.
No, 0.2%. I love your accent. That is for me because Ashley doesn't have an accent. Oh. For a second, I was like, wait, that's a compliment to me right there.
Accents are great. As someone said, Beauty by Nazareth, I like your affordability. If you understand, yes, it has been a bumpy road.
I like it. I'm a fee artist, and yes, it has been. Say nothing. I don't say negative things about my but they do. They don't like beauty angels, but I think they have very nice techniques. But don't laugh. Very bumpy road. Yes, I know. I would love to join Beauty Angel. Bitches and brows. Come on in, girl. Come on, bitches. You'll fit right in. I mean, I love cursing. What else? New York City and Connecticut. Oh, nice. Okay, West Palm. Oh, she's right by me. Beauty by Nazareth. I hope you're shopping at my shop because we are right here in the Palm Beach County, baby. Hey, Sammy just joined. Hi, Sammy. See, Sammy actually does beautiful work. Beautiful work. You know who Sammy Toe is?
Yeah, I think so. Hold on.
She does nano, but she does it more like a microblading.
Yeah.
And so beautiful, like you can't even tell. Like, you know what I mean? There's
that's it's honestly like to be able to make nano look like microblading in that pattern is a skill in itself because you're balancing a single needle that's vibrating and you've got to make sure it's not going left, right, front, back, up or down. So that's a skill.
She is amazing. And you know what she does? She does the glamour brows pattern. Can you imagine with the curvy strokes with a nano needle?
Yeah.
Girl, you're talented too. You're both talented. You're both amazing in a different ways. Everybody has different, things. I love all your videos, Master Claire, following Lily. Oh, thank you so much. It's so funny. You know what? Today I was talking with Stefan, like he's one of our graphic designer. And I go, hi, Stefan. He writes back, hello, Master Claire. And I was like dying. I'm like, Master? I'm like, ha, like this. It's just so funny. I'm like, okay, I feel respect. And I'm like, thank you.
When I went to Mexico to film, it was really weird for me when they kept calling me Master.
Oh yeah, they
were all calling me Master, and I was just like, I'm not used to that, especially like I found out I was pregnant like right when I was leaving. And that was like a whole year ago, almost a full year ago.
Crazy. So let's story. Tell them the story, how you find out that you were pregnant.
Well, I found out when I was on my, so I technically found out when I got back, but I knew when I was leaving Mexico. So I worked like I think I worked 24 hours in 2 days to get everything filmed. And when I was leaving.
Stop. We're going to go back. We're going to go back.
Where are we going back?
Ashley went to our Beauty Angels Latin America headquarters because we over there have a very beautiful filming studios and everything. And I said, Ashley, we need these videos to be super professional. And Ashley goes, I'll go to Mexico.
And I brought the whole family.
Her family. And then once, you know, she's like, I'm not feeling well. We're like, oh shit, did she get COVID? Right? Because it was COVID.
Yeah, everything was, oh my gosh, yeah. My poor husband and kids couldn't go anywhere because they don't, in Monterrey, they weren't allowing anyone under 6 was not allowed anywhere. You can't go in the mall, can't go in the restaurant. He kept going, but he kept getting kicked out. But
I don't want to be a kid in Monterrey.
No, yeah, like it was like if you were over a certain age and under a certain age, you were like blacklisted from society. It was crazy.
Man. Poor kids. That's why Patricia and Ramses don't have kids. Now I figured it out.
I remember something about don't have kids.
That is so funny.
They also
now it makes sense why they didn't want to have kids.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But she finds out that she's pregnant and I'm like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And then she was like, you know what? I'm going to be due like around the time when this feather brows is coming out. I'm like, oh, great.
Just great. It was just lovely. Especially because my pregnancy was horrible. Like it was so rough. Like I'm still having it, like my anemia and just like all sorts of weird stuff. They thought I got a blood clot, so I had to get an ultrasound in my leg because they were like, "Oh my gosh, go home, eat right away, you're gonna die." That was fun, but yeah. But yeah, the timing was crazy, and it was really fortunate that I started feeling horrible when I was leaving. So I just like when I was filming, like I just missed it. Like I got really lucky. It was like
went there like 2-3 days later, we would have been screwed. No, we would have not had feather brows, maybe.
I wouldn't be feather brows. Literally this, I mean, I was sick. It was bad. It was like, it hit me like a train. It was weird. But
so she finished her model and she was like, bleh. Is that what happened?
When I finished my model, I like laid on the floor. I was so tired.
I'm finished. Bleh.
I'm done. Super late, and then Patty like drove me back home. She was gonna have to take me to get the COVID test because I ran out of time because it was so late when we finished, and I couldn't get back into America without the COVID test. So I got home at like midnight, and then I ended up they had it at the airport, so we just went early, and it was fine. But yeah, it's
such a crazy thing, this stupid COVID test anyway. I don't even they give a shit.
I thought it was gonna be special.
Seattle! We have a Seattle in the house.
My neighbor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
3 hours.
That far.
3 hours.
Magnum is the best, Sammy says. Thank you. Yes, Magnum is our honestly #1 seller. You're so funny. I love it. I'm funny? Like how? Like I'm a cloud? Like I'm here to amuse you? What? Love your energy. Oh my God! Santana Studio is in the house. Hello, my man Kenneth. I'm waiting. You know what? I've been waiting so patiently for the feather brows. The next thing that is going to come up probably is another year is our lip blush. You know, the technique, he has this beautiful technique that he does.
I've seen it. It's amazing.
He's unbelievable. He's really unbelievable. I love feather brows too, Mystic Bella. What is your schedule? Do you have a school and where? Of course, Beauty Angels Academy is our school. You could go to beautyangelsacademy.com. Oh.
And then I teach feather brows here in person in Vancouver too.
Well,
So
maybe start traveling in a little bit. Royal Charm Studio. Hello.
that sounds familiar. I feel like doing
Yeah,
it.
the masters. I want to do feather brows training. What are you waiting for, Beauty by Nazareth? Go sign up for the feather course. It's available. All right, let's see. I don't know if there's any other. I'm so glad everything worked out. Yes, bitches
Yes.
and brows. I love that. I love that. It did work out. Thank God. Hello, Santana. S-lips. Yes, correct. You guys all incredible. Wow, your brow. Thank you. Okay, well, it was nice chatting with you. What is the best advice you could give when people are learning feather brows? And then we'll finish it up with that.
Sorry, someone just messaged me and I got distracted for a second. So the best advice for learning, like when they're signing up for feather brows or like to succeed at it, I would say be patient with yourself and be willing to put it in practice.
That's great advice. I like it.
Yes, because you can't expect to nail it the first time, and you know it takes time to master, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Like when I put in so much time and essentially taught myself how to do machine hair strokes. So initially
Trial and error. So
yeah, I've done many training since, but like at first I taught myself. I'm self-taught technically, so it took a lot of just practice and time, and that is what made all the difference. Like I put in 2 hours a day for 3 months straight, and I went from 0 to 100 as far as improvement.
How long do you think they should practice if they're learning feather brows? I mean, with microblading or any other techniques, we always say at least 20 minutes per day, like minimum.
Yeah, I would say the most important thing would be building that muscle memory. So you want to do it consistently. So it's better to do it 20 minutes every day than 2 hours one day and then not do it for a month. It's definitely better to go do that consistency. I mean, I know a lot of people don't have an hour to spend on it, but I mean, even just 20 hours a day, if getting in on the latex is great.
20 hours a day? You mean 20?
20 minutes.
You need to do 20 hours every day. You sleep 4 hours, you drink a little bit.
No one's me 20 hours.
Start to practice again.
Yeah, no, I think it's just consistency is most important. And just be willing and open to taking it, you know, feedback and learning and that kind of thing.
I think that's another very good advice, taking feedback. Because sometimes, honestly, people get offended. You can't tell people it's never good for you, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not here to put you down. I'm here to make you a good artist.
Yes.
And I think that is the most important thing that people need to understand about Beauty Angels Academy, right? We want them to be a great artist. We don't want them to just be certified. We don't want to just give them, here is a certificate for you. Because the goal here is to create good quality artists and supported artists that they feel safe. They don't feel like by themselves. It's like a really great family, you know? And it's the same with even with the masters, you know? Guys, if you are a beauty angel already, and you don't know about our Zoom meetings, Zoom calls, you need to register to our Zoom calls. We have angel support time every Monday, you know, for 1 hour. 2 master goes there, and then, you know, they take your questions, whatever you want to talk about, or if you want to show, because it's video, right? It's a Zoom video. If you want to show your work and get feedback, and it's great because every Monday it's 2 different trainers, and different trainers have different ideas that could give you, right? So it's great. So we have also the Facebook group, the Facebook support group, the student support group. Just go in there because the link to the Zoom is in there too. So you are always going to be able to ask your questions and not feel alone, which is very, very important.
Yeah. And I always tell people like, because a lot of people get messages from people who are learning Nano or they have questions about it. I always tell you, just like DM me, and I'm an open book. I really do like to talk to people and help them through things. Like I don't believe in holding back information, you know?
Oh, yeah. We have
always,
a question here. Jen X Browse. I jumped on here late, but your course teaches needle configurations for Nano, right? Girl, are you kidding me? You'll even learn, you know, how to do the littlest thing with the machine and the littlest thing with the needle, and what is the history of tattooing and coil machines and all that stuff. You learn everything that this girl knows. She delivered it to you. She didn't hold back one small piece of information.
Yeah, so you definitely can do the feather brows with the larger configuration needles. Like my new go-to is kind of a 3RL. You know, you can still do it with a 1RL, but you get it done faster with a 3. So
I always liked bigger configurations, honestly, but I think the smaller, look, there is no right or wrong, in my opinion. There is going to be people who love a one single point needle to do a whole lip, and to I want the biggest needle for the lip, you know, because
I did a whole lip with a single before, and then I've done it with a 15 mag. So I've done go both ways. There's places for everything, you know. There's a purpose for all the different things, and that's the thing.
Right. There's for everybody, like what they do and why they like it, and you know, there is never right or wrong. I always say it's a preference. You know, there is no such a thing. Is it better to use a string? Is it better to use a compass to do the shape? I mean,
for one,
you use both. I know you use both. I use both too.
And string. I use all of it together, and it's but yeah, it's like preferences. That's why in the course I give people the information. I arm them with the information, and then they can find their preferences. So when you learn all the stuff,
class at some point, absolutely. We will have classes all around. I mean, you are in Washington State.
Yeah, the summer I'm going to be doing in-person classes. I would have them sooner, but I'm booked out for 4 months, so I've got to block off my schedule. So there'll be feather brows classes in Washington in June and July.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, they could start online, and they could actually
up in person.
Come to in person, you know. And if they need it, and if they don't need it, hey, you just saved yourself some good chunk of change, you know. I always say that to people. Hey, you know what? Why don't you start online? And it's good, so you have knowledge, right? And then if you want to go to a live training, you could always go to a live training. With Beauty Angels, you have that flexibility, you know, and you don't have to worry about, even a year later, you could go and join a live course. And what's so cool about it is, if they take your course live and then they're in Canada and Brian is teaching, then they could go to his course for free. You know, we are not an academy. Oh, you are Ashley's student, you're not welcomed here, you're her student. We don't have that with Beauty Angels. Anybody is welcome at any time for free, you guys. Nobody does that. No academy in the world has this, that we could go as many times. You just have to pay a little fee, you know, because we give food and everything, but you just sit there. You don't do another model. I mean, if you want to do another model, then you got to pay that master, but otherwise you could just go to, you know, just observe and learn, like soak up from everybody. It's amazing, right?
Yeah, because every single trainer is going to, even if you're teaching the exact same course, there's something else they're going to be able to teach you, because everyone has their own tips and tricks and their own style. And so it's super beneficial. That's why I always tell people to continue learning and to take trainings nonstop. Like, just keep learning and learning, because you're just gonna blow up with knowledge, and it's great.
Right. You know? But what's so fun is with Beauty Angels, like if you like, for example, 3 different trainer, their style, you could even travel to that class, because you're not paying for a class. I mean, how amazing is that? We created an academy that want to give you as much as we can. Not in different techniques now. Don't push it. Okay? If it's a then you gotta go to feather. If it's a lips technique, you go to the as many lips as you want. But you know, we want you to be happy, and that's what our goal is at Beauty Angels. And I'm so happy to have you. You created a kick-ass course. You should pat yourself on the shoulder or on the back and be proud. And you know, you are amazing artists. You're an amazing person. I never met you in person, but you have such a good energy, Ashley. You're like a sweetheart, and I'm sure your students will love you, and we love you. Thanks again for joining. I know lives are not your thing, but you did great.
They
And
can be.
anyway, I don't shut up, so I probably did most of the talking anyway.
If you get me in person, I do not shut up. I talk a lot. I'm kind of like, woo!
Oh, really?
A lot. But
They love you. See, Ashley love you. Aww. She's an Albanian hottie.
Albanian.
All right. You're angels, and she's cheering to Beauty Angels. Well, thank you again. I appreciate your time. Till next time, you guys. Again, I want to remind you, if you're interested to buy this Feather Brows course, it's a great time to buy, because we really never have discounts on our courses. Valentine 14 for the 14th of February is Valentine's Day, right? And then you're going to have 14% off, and you're going to get all the bonus levels with Feather Brows. Go get it now. Our
hi, Lauren. I saw Lauren was on here. Hello.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we're getting off, but you're a cutie. Oh, thank you. You're talking to me, right, Nazareth? Look at that. Her name is Nazareth. Look at that. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Mwah. Mwah.
All right.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for coming on, everybody. Bye-bye.